Francesca had a question, so.
I'm coming from Italy, so and especially from Tuscany, so I would like to bring you another perspective from the south of Italy, from the very bottom of the European scenario. I don't know if, but for sure I would like to say my opinion on the how participation and e-participation can help democracy. My answer is by making government better. And this is my first comment on what I have just listened to, and I fully share what you said. In my opinion, it's only a matter of starting to do things, because the theoretical discussions, like you said, they are possibly useless, or we have had enough of them. Two comments. First of all, to make good government now becomes, in my view, more and more to involve citizens in a non-formal way on all the public services that cannot by themselves be provided by the government only. So, for example, trivial example, waste collection is something that you cannot do by yourself, even if you are very rich as a municipality. You need the other people. And those who do e-participation and participation, they know very well that when the participants go home, they are so enthusiastic, they are so engaged, so happy about the experience that they have had, that when they go home, they continue acting in a positive way, in a virtuous way. So if you want to engage your constituency on higher challenges, higher aims, this is one way to proceed, maybe not the only one. You should do more participation and e-participation. First comment. Second comment, let's try to avoid keeping this as a goal, maybe as a political goal. I know that the first thing that we think of when we speak about participation is how far, and I am coming from Italy, how far institutions are from the citizens, how difficult it is for young people, for the excluded to become more integrated into the political process. So participation seems to be the way, the answer, the passage towards more democracy. But this, for me, is not the right way to put things, or at least what we have done so far is to put it in this way, and it has not worked fine, in my view. It has not done good to the interests, to the sake of participation. So again, let's change it into a policy tool, a policy instrument to produce good government, rather than a political goal. And again, final comment, I come from Italy. When in Italy we want not to take any decision on a given issue, we speak about it a lot.
Right. So, do you want to make a quick comment on that, and then?
Yeah, I certainly agree. I mean, you know, the first step would be to, you know, to establish participation or e-government on the public services. I wouldn't dismiss, though, the possibility of participation, not only e-government, to organize and structure will formation. So I wouldn't dismiss it, you know. I wouldn't say, I think it's more challenging, and you need many more, you know, facilitation, and perhaps it's more costly and so on, but I wouldn't dismiss it. But as a first step, I think you're totally right. As to the second point, I think that, of course, citizen participation, you can have different goals. I mean, you can also only enhance you know, public debate without, you know, being linked to political decision making. You can also improve the political decision, but you can also, as you said, have as a goal the knowledge improvement or education of the participants. Whether this has been, you know, was successful or not, it really depends on the initiative. I'm not so sure to dismiss it and say, you know, the how can I say, the mobilization of young people through e-participation hasn't worked overall. perhaps in Italy to some degree in certain initiatives. But I wouldn't say it didn't work at all so far. I'm not so even sure that we have enough data for that, to be honest.
Anthony.
Hi, Anthony Zaszewski from the Democratic Society in the UK. I love the idea of the Internet of Citizens. I think it sparks lots of ideas for me, which I'd just be interested in, in mentioning. First is one of the things that makes the internet is that there's a very small number of people setting common standards that everyone abides by in terms of transmission of ideas, transmission of data. And also, it depends on a lot of voluntary effort. I mean, all those lolcats don't write themselves. You've got people out there who are making them using that, what Clay Shirky calls their cognitive surplus. And I'm interested, maybe one of the conversations we can have in this group later is, how do you create things that make that cognitive surplus useful and enable people to participate in small amounts of time, when they're on the train home, when they're on the bus or whatever, rather than having to sit in a room for 3 hours with an agenda. Mm-hmm. The other thing I thought was interesting, I maybe challenge a bit, is that both of the talks that we've heard, which I thought were brilliant, were focused on a government to citizen or citizen to government type relationship. Yeah. And what I'd much rather do is try and open out the space in the middle and create a kind of shared environment over which the state and the citizens feel a common responsibility. Because I think that's the boundary where the interesting stuff's going to happen, not in a kind of not in a decision-making mode, in creating an environment in which positive civic action can happen without government being involved at all.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you very much. I found these 2 points very, very interesting. The first is, of course, you're right. I mean, there are very few people, and the effort is enormous if you want really to participate. And I think the great challenge is how to sort of lower the access, which doesn't mean to lower in the end, it doesn't mean to lower the quality of discussion. Yeah, it just you can you find different ways of facilitation, but I mean there are many tools you can use. But this is something you have to keep in mind, not only because of the digital divide, which everyone knows. Some people are able to use the internet in a advanced way, others are not. But also it's a question of, as you said, of time. Not everyone has the time to do it, and that you have to also try to have social groups in it which wouldn't do it without being mobilized, for example. So you need to think about that. The second point, I think this is a very UK point of view, because the civil society plays a different role in the UK than in Germany. I think this is a very important point, that we shouldn't only look at government and government initiatives, but do it also bottom up, yeah? Because I do believe that that citizen participation is not only about political decision making; it's also about will formation and political debate. Of course, then the question is how to make the link. But the same is true for media. How the media have an effect on political decisions. So I think there lies lots of possibilities and room, in particular in Germany, because we haven't sort of explored it as much as in the UK.
Any more questions before we move on to the next panel? Okay. Well, thank you very much to Patrizia Nanz.